Hi everyone, I'm Kevin Kopp. Over the past 3+ months, we have been talking with Temple administrators, student athletes, and coaches about Temple's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. And most of those conversations have focused on how Temple has adapted to this remote environment that we all find ourselves in. But today we have a welcome shift in our topic of conversation as we're going to talk about how Temple plans to bring its student athletes back to campus, which will begin on June 23rd. And to that end, we have Temple's senior woman administrator and the head of the Committee on Return to Participation, Jessica Rio, joining us today. Jessica, thanks so much for taking the time to chat. And I just want to begin with this committee's work itself, because this committee brings people together from all across Temple athletics, across the university, the Temple community at large. How you were able to put together this comprehensive plan to bring our student athletes back to campus and to bring them back safely.
I think that truth be told, we're still answering those questions every single day. And so what we're doing is we're meeting twice a week to try and address those questions as they come up, because it really is a never-ending process right now. We started to just focus on getting our first wave of student athletes back so that once we have them back on campus, then we can see how things go and then we adjust. And we're consistently and constantly adjusting this plan and this process when new information becomes available, when we get different feedback from coaches, from student athletes, from the university, from our partners across the country. So it's a never-ending process right now, and we're just trying to put ourselves in the best possible place to keep our student athletes and our coaches and staff safe when they do return.
So to that end, the kind of magical day here is June 23rd, the first day that we're going to see that first wave of student athletes come back to campus. So we'll kind of start basic and work our way through all the different kind of big picture questions that go along with that. But to start, who is that group of student athletes, or who is in that group of student athletes that's going to be the first to kind of go through this process on the 23rd?
We have a mix of student athletes that are living in this local community, and we decided that that is where we would start. People that have already been here or within a very short drive that could make it in on a regular and ongoing basis, that didn't need university housing, that didn't need any kind of assistance from a meal plan perspective. These are students that are in our local area and are able to really just come in, do their voluntary workout, and go home. That's all that, because right now, from an NCAA perspective, that's the only thing that is permitted is voluntary workouts. And once the city of Philadelphia went to yellow, that allows us a little bit of flexibility to have them here. But really, it's just local. We're trying to focus on local kids that are already here, that it's not going to be too disruptive to anybody right now.
And so then the big question that goes along with that, and you already touched on this because of where we are in the NCAA calendar, that it's just voluntary workouts. What does that first day look like? So what are the student athletes able to do, and kind of what's the progression of, I hesitate to call anything a normal day right now, but beginning on the 23rd, what does a, quote, normal day look like for a student athlete that's going to be coming on campus?
Well, after we test them for COVID, because we're going to test everybody that comes back, they're going to work with their strength and conditioning coaches, and the recommendations from the national governing body for strength and conditioning is 50% workload, then it goes up to 30, then 20, then 10 over a 5-week period. So that's really where we start, is to make sure that the students are not overloaded physically, they're not overloaded from a conditioning standpoint. Just, again, we're easing them into everything to make sure that when we do get permission to go to practice, that everybody's prepared and healthy and is not going to, we don't have any issues, bigger issues at that time.
Well, you kind of snuck it in right at the beginning of that answer, but I want to go back and really hit this point home, and that is testing, because as we're looking at different schools are rolling out their different models for how they're bringing student athletes back on campus, and broadly they follow a lot of the same patterns Most schools are bringing back student athletes in incremental waves, but testing is one area where we have seen a divergence. There are some schools that are testing once. There are some schools that are thinking about ongoing testing. There are some schools that are bringing their athletes back and not testing at all. And so as we look at kind of the broader picture here of COVID-19, we know how important testing and tracing is. And so obviously, I just want to highlight what an important part of the return plan that the testing, and I know we'll get to the tracing as well, that those two things kind of go hand in hand with how we've chosen to attack this here at Temple.
Yeah, so we made a decision, and we're making the investment, obviously, in testing at least once when they get back. There will be ongoing testing as part of some of our different recommendations throughout the year when the students are traveling. But initially, we're gonna have them come back. They're gonna test. They are receiving an application on their phones that they're gonna have to report every day any kind of symptoms or how they're feeling each day. They're temperature tested when they come in each day. And we have a plan so that the only people that come in, they have to go through we're calling it a chute, but they go in through a chute, out through the other chute. So they're in and out at different areas, and the testing is really important. We've offered up our staff to be contact trace trained in the instance, or in the circumstance that we have somebody that tests positive, so that we can assist in the process of the contact tracing. But we're waiting on some of that stuff right now to get some answers on that. But really, the testing is kind of our first layer. We just want to make sure that everybody, right when they get back, is healthy, and then we can put them in a position that, again, they'll have the most success. And then we'll treat them and track on all of that as they continue to participate in those voluntary workouts.
Most of us think about this return to play scenario affecting student athletes, but you also have to think about the larger picture of the staff that is going to be interacting with those student athletes. And some people, like myself, will probably be at home for a longer while, but there are essential personnel within our athletic department that are going to be around the student athletes every day. And so what are you doing on the staff side of things in terms of again, testing there, PPE, those sorts of things to make sure that the student athletes are safe, and that the staff that's interacting with them are able to keep the student athletes safe as well?
Sure. So right now, the staff are going to be tested at the same time that the student athletes will be. And that staff is our strength and conditioning staff, our sports medicine staff, our equipment staff, and our facility staff. Those are the people that will be interacting with our student athletes really during that voluntary period. And so they're going to also be in the application, so they'll have to check in every day. The university has a plan for if somebody does get ill or feel sick, so we have the university side of things for all employees. In terms of PPE and the protective equipment, all of our staff at all times will be masked. We'll have antibacterial gel around. We have hand washing stations that are going to be available at all times. We have limited restroom use. The student athletes are not going to be able to access their locker rooms. It's going to look a lot different when they come back, but it's all for the safety of them and for our staff, because our student athletes are going to be coming and going throughout the day, but our staff is going to be interacting with every student athlete all day long. So quite frankly, we can't afford to have our staff sick. So our goal is to make sure that they are as healthy as possible. So all of our staff, like I said, will be masked at all times and following all of the state, national, and the athletic training guidelines for cleanliness. We're cleaning in between every workout. We're cleaning in between every appointment with our athletic trainers and our physical therapists. There will be a lot of things that are going on kind of in the off time when the student athletes won't see it, but hopefully they'll have faith that we're doing things the right way. And that's what our intention is to make sure that they are always put in the position of safety first. That's what we want for our staff, and that's what we want for our student athletes.
Well, I know I'm not the first person to use this metaphor, but it really is like building the plane as you're flying it. And I know we're figuring out a lot of this as we go, but again, and we're not able to get that initial wave of feedback yet from that first group of student athletes and staff that are going to be there, and I'm sure this will continue to be refined and perfected as we move forward. But I just want to get a sense from you as the person that's in a position to have coordinated all of these efforts and to bring these disparate parts together. You know, we've talked a lot about our student athlete resilience and their willingness to go through this unprecedented change, but I think it's really taken that same level of effort on all sides here to make this happen. I just want to get a sense of kind of the camaraderie and the shared experience that you've been through on this committee to make this work, and again, everyone just trying to do the best they can for our student athletes.
Yeah, I mean, the good part about working in athletics is that we all feel like we're in it together. And so we all spend so much time together at athletic events and in the office every day that hopefully that camaraderie sticks around. But everybody's been fantastic in terms of trying to figure out, look, we're not going to rush. We want to get it right. We know that there's going to be chances that students get sick, but we have to, or staff get sick, but we have to plan for that. And we have to rely on people's honesty and their willingness, and especially in this committee, to be able to raise a hand and say, hey, I'm concerned about this, or what about this? And so we've had really, really open dialogue, and it's very much helped us to craft the plan. And I think they also know that the plan is ever changing. Like you said, we're building the plane as we're flying it, right? So they know that if they don't ask that question 2 days ago, that's okay. It can be asked today or next week. And you know what? Okay, we didn't think about that. Let's wrap it in here. Where do we put it? Where does it fit? And so we're constantly, creating different documents. It's hard to keep track of, quite frankly. I'm still trying to make sure that I'm remembering everything, writing everything down, creating our checklists, creating our plans. But the team that we have that has been involved in this there's so many people. I mean, I talk to people all day long that there's no way that I could do this without the people that are on this committee. I couldn't do it without the people in the university that have been really supportive of getting our student athletes back. I mean, I think that's important. We've had meetings with all of the athletics directors and people involved in the state, with all the different schools in the state, their athletics directors, physicians, sports medicine people, everybody's just wanting to make sure that the kids come back and are healthy. But we also want to get back to normal, right? That's part of it. And I think that this committee has just been fantastic in trying to really make sure that all of those things can happen.
Well, I know we've said this time and time again, probably in every conversation we've had here over the last few months, but I know everyone is looking forward to that day when sports are going to be back and we're able to watch and take in that joy again. And it's nice to peek under the hood and know that the way that Temple is going about it really is the right way. It's been a privilege for me to get to see that work up close, and I hope that the folks watching today are able to get a sense of all that's going into it. Obviously, this conversation will be ongoing as we move forward. We'll be talking with our doctors, our athletic trainers, our sports medicine folks, and of course our student athletes about Temple's return to play. So we hope that you'll continue to watch. And Jessica Rio, thank you so much for taking some time to chat with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, so as Temple gets ready to return, we will continue to bring you all the latest here on owlsports.com. I'm Kevin Cobb. Thanks for watching.